Welcome, everybody. I wanted to do a WNBA tip off recap just in case you missed any of the other games in WNBA. You want to see how the teams are doing, what happened. This is going to be your source for it. So, without further ado, let's jump over to the Lynx versus Dallas kicking off the opening weekend. And the Wings, has struggled against a championship contender. I mean, I will say this. I think that everyone started cold. Again, this was kind of like the first game. Everyone came out slow, except for actually Paige Becker. And I think that a lot of people have point out her start. It's not what you want. 10 points, 3 for 10 shooting. However, I will say the thing that I did appreciate is she actually scored some of the first points of the game. And although her shot really wasn't falling, I think that she made some tough, impressive shots, and she looked confident. She looked unfazed. She looked like she was just going about trying to acclimate against a really tough defense. And similar to the way Caitlin Clark, if we're going to make comparisons, a lot for number one picks, ran right into like a stout Suns defense and, had a bunch of turnovers and things like that. I think that the reality is that it's just a tough matchup. It's a hard first game. And there were other things going around with the Wings, which we'll dive into. And beyond everyone starting cold, Enrique lost her composure mentally. I've seen this happen in the past, and there's like a theme of this opening weekend of the team that has a player crash out, they lose. The team doesn't perform, and Enrique didn't perform tonight. And the Wings D struggled mightily. They struggled. Melissa Smith does not look like there's been any improvement in that area. Even though she's flanked by Dejanay Carrington, who is a good defender. I think overall, just in general, this Wings team, they don't have a lot of size. Dejanay, Segrist, Ty Harris, they looked good out there, but this team, they're just going to have a lot of problems this season. Tierra McCowan was seen storming out, walking off. And Tierra McCowan's problem is that she's a walking foul. She got like 4 fouls in 4 minutes of play. I'd be frustrated too, but also like you got to be smarter than that if you're the only real true big that this team has. Otherwise, this team kind of plays small and they have a lot of scorers and they might try to race you sometimes. But I think that whenever they run into a good defense, they're just gonna have a tough night. And lo and behold, Courtney Williams and Fee, they popped off together. Courtney Williams and Fee combined for 35 points in the third quarter. Like, they were most of the offense of the Lynx this night. And also notably, Jessica Shepard. Again, she's as good as advertised. Preseason showed us that. I think that she is basically the replacement for Juhas. They kind of did a swap where Shepard came back from the Italian League. Juhas is like, I'm going to take a break. I've been playing nonstop. I'm going to stay in the Italian League. They kind of did a shifting of the guard, but Shepard is an upgrade. She looks amazing. And the fact that they didn't have Alana Smith for this game, and now they're going to be a 1-2 punch. It looks like the Lynx are a better team. It just looks like they're a better team than last season, and they win 99-84, crushing the Wings in their opener. Next up, we head to the Atlanta Dream and the Mystics. It's the second of our doubleheader kickoff games, and Alicia Gray carried alongside BG. They were definitely missing Jordan Canada. They were also missing Ryan Howard, who, although was there, shot like 28%. And was really trying to have her takeover moments, but just was not performing as well. And I think the big story of this game is the Mystics are actually a fun team to watch. They are actually way better. They're overachieving. They're jumping up my tier lists. Are they going to make a really deep playoff run? No, but they're going to upset a lot of teams. And so far, it looks like they're off to a good start. And mainly because their rookies are performing. Sonia, Citron, and KiKi Iriafen, they're WNBA already. No time to cook, no prep work needed. They look like they're already in there. Sonia stole the show alongside a deep guard roster. That, like, the Mystics guard roster is actually pretty insane. They're all performing well. I almost expect that there might be some trade potential if they want to out of that core, because they have so many guards and so many people performing well. And there are teams like, the Sky that desperately need a guard to bounce off of Vandersloot. So I think that this team's going to be fun to watch. And most notably, like, Brittany Sykes is their like heart and soul. What Courtney Williams is to the Lynx, and what we're going to talk about what Natasha Cloud is to Liberty, like, that is Brittany Sykes, that veteran that's going to get in there They're gonna be the physical leader, the emotional leader. And although she had a tough shooting night, it didn't matter because the Mystics actually won this game 94-90 against the Dream, who, you know, underperformed in this game. And hopefully when they get back Jordan Canada, they'll look a little bit better. But great confidence booster for the Mystics to start off the season. And lastly, to wrap up Friday night, we had the Sparks versus the Golden State Valkyries and the battle for California. The Golden State Valkyries are just like that lovable underdog. It's a team that's like all like the sixth women on the team, or like the fringe starters, the people that punch above their weight, those kind of players. And you know, my girl Temi and Tiffany Hayes, they popped off. They had great performances, and Julie Van Lowe had like her Julie Van Lowe moment. She did this in the Olympics as well, where she just all of a sudden is, no matter where she is, she can sink a three. Like she just, and it's just back to back to back. And so there was a run that happened that actually gave the Golden State Valkyries hope in life, and like they were threatening the Sparks and they're coming at them, and unfortunately the other flip side of Julie Van Lowe is eventually that fades off, and there's the heat checks fail and there's some mistakes, and Golden State Valkyries ran into the woman with the biggest chip on her shoulder, Kelsey Plum, who, you know, Fee, you know, in her opening game, tied, I think it was like the opening game record with like 32 points. And then Kelsey Plum was like, nah, I'm going to drop 37 points in this game. And we've seen her have some pop-off games with the Aces, although usually, like, you know, the Aces run through Asia Wilson. And so if you're second fiddle, second scorer, like there's some pop-off games, and Kelsey Plum can be streaky. But tonight she was on and she was talking her ish. It was like the best parts of Kelsey Plum. If you're a Sparks fan and you got Kelsey Plum, you have to be ecstatic with this game especially. And I'm happy she escaped Vegas. I'm happy that she gets to go off and do her own thing and kind of be the face of a team. The Sparks definitely missed Cam Brink. Overall, they won super comfortably, 84-67. The Sparks take that game, and Golden State Valkyries, you know, it's just gonna be, they're gonna like, when they get their first win, there's gonna be a lot of hype and excitement, but they're gonna struggle for most of the season this year, I feel like. Moving on, we have the celebratory game between the Las Vegas Aces at the Liberty getting to celebrate getting their rings and making the Aces fold, because man, oh man, did the Liberty look good. That game started close, but the Aces for the first half mostly just ran through Asia Wilson and only had Asia Wilson. Everyone else was not really making shot and making anything happen. Jackie Young eventually found her shot, but it was way too late in this game, and they just are really missing a reliable secondary scoring option, as well as the fact that their interior defense, it's bad. It's like, it's a gaping wound in this team's hopes for making a championship run or a deep playoff run at all. Again, they still have decent talent on the team, but Jewel Lloyd did not have a good game, and I pray for her that if she thought the Seattle was a tough environment to deal with, I feel like the Aces are not going to be a more welcoming environment. So hopefully she finds her performance and can get her mental back, because it just, you know, it just bums me out as a player that, like, watching as a Fever fan would just, like, with one eye, you know, drop like a billion points on the Fever, but now just kind of down the stretch has kind of like lost her shot. On the flip side, Natasha Cloud, that pickup for the Liberty is so big. Like, I would say that Sabrina, who had an off night, was not good from three. It was normally be the vocal kind of leader. You see her talking a lot. Stewie is actually a lot more quiet, unless like it's like crunch time. You know, you saw her in the finals last year. Like, she will generally be kind of like that stoic vet player, and Sabrina would normally be the vocal player. But Natasha Cloud has taken that mantle, and like physicality, she got elbowed to the jaw. She just like, doesn't matter, took it on the chin. I'm making my free throws. Like, she played out of her mind and put up 22 points in just an absolute physical and emotional leader performance. Crazy to see from her. Stewie put up 25. some ridiculous, like, she caught a pass one-handed and just like threw it in just like in one motion plays. And I think the only thing that I would say from the Liberty side is that Phoebish actually looked not confident in her play. And it was weird to see the contrast from the finals where she was taking shots and she was super confident with what she was doing. And in this, there was some hesitation that I was seeing out there. Maybe it's just, again, just early game rust and we'll see her bounce back. But at the end of the day, the Liberty have so much talent that it just didn't matter if Sabrina was having an off night or Phoebus was having an off night. That, like, JJ, that roster is just packed with talent, and they're not even feeling the losses of Benajelini Hamilton or any of that stuff. So, I mean, 92-78, Liberty dunk on the Aces, and yeah, that's a wrap for them. Next up, we had this guy at the Indiana Fever, and we just have to mourn a long dead rivalry because the Indiana Fever held this defense, looked so good, and they held this guy to 26 points in the second half. 26 points total. It was a 13-13 each quarter, which is a crazy improvement over anything we saw from the Fever last season. Defensively, this guy had no answer for the Fever. Caitlin Clark had a triple-double. Aaliyah Boston looked like she had the deepest bag ever. She made shots at every level. Tawana Bonner eclipsing third all-time scoring leader in the WNBA. A great night, a celebratory night for her. And if you want a more in-depth review of this game, you can check out my video linked down below. But the Fever blow out the Sky 93-58. Angel Reese can be mad about flagrant fouls all she wants, but the Sky, they look directionless right now. Tyler's got a lot of work. And next up, we head to Seattle versus the Mercury, and Storm offense looked anemic. Like, I don't know what was going on, what was in the water that night, but the hopes for Dominique to start really hot and like be the big rookie of this class and maybe eclipse Paige was it was over ambitious because she kind of got in late. She's trying to gel with the team, but they didn't really give her a lot of minutes. And I don't know what's going on with the Storm, but they looked like a mess for how much talent they have in that roster. It was very disappointing to see overall. Skylar lived up to expectations. NECA was pretty good, but yeah, nobody else could buy a basket. And meanwhile, the Mercury were like, no copper, no problem. And Satu was amazing. And, it had been talked a lot about, potentially getting her for the Fever. And dang, I kind of missed that opportunity because she went off, dropping 27 points. She had 2 blocks. She was both sides of the court, just being an absolute menace. And Alyssa Thomas had a 20-point night, 2 steals, looked great as always. And again, I think it's just a really disappointing opening performance for the Storm. I think that they definitely need to figure out with all that big talent, Ezzy and all these people just like not being able to make shots. Like, surely things are going to turn around, but for now, like, they got drummed. 81-59. Mercury take it. Mercury looking like a solid team this year, and Seattle definitely in the it's going to take us a bit to figure this out phase. We're going to head over to our Sunday games, which saw the Mystics versus the Sun being the last team that we hadn't seen play yet, which honestly, for all the talk of being the tank commanders, the Sun played pretty well. Marina Maybury did a lot of facilitating for the team. Adota, Tina Charles looked very good. Tina Charles putting up 23 points in this game, being fairly dominant, and they like led most of this game and were battling. Marina unfortunately was 1 for 8 from 3, but the team was still confident in her to take the final 3-pointers to try to win the game, to try to get back in the game. But the Mystics proved that they're not a fluke. It's not a fluke. Sykes had a really gutsy game, 27 points in this game, shot way better this game, but also fouled out. And so late in the game. And so it was like, oh, like they lost Brittany Sykes. Like this is our chance as the Sun to take them out. And there's no way that these rookies are going to, pick up that mantle. Well, they're good. They're good. Sonia, again, 15 points. She had almost like no points in the first half. Second half, stepped up big time. took over, the point guard duties, drove the offense. KiKi put up 17, was going toe to toe with Tina Charles, looking like a vet. And man, this team doesn't have Aaliyah Edwards. They didn't have Aaliyah Edwards in the first game. This game, they're probably going to miss her for a week or two, I think, is what the projection is. But once they get Aaliyah Edwards back, Aaliyah Edwards is an upgrade even further for this team. And I actually, they might jump even further up my tier list. I might even have them too low where I have them now, because I don't know, I'm kind of high on this team right now just because they have so much guard talent. Their bigs, once they get Aaliyah Edwards with KiKi and the rest of the crew, are going to be pretty good. Stephanie Dolson again, outside three threat. Yeah, I think this team is going to do work, and Mystics take the game in a very close game against the Sun. And last but not least, we wrapped up our kickoff with the Lynx versus the Sparks in Los Angeles, and Alana Smith had a big comeback. She's one of my favorite players in the WNBA and on the Lynx, and she just makes so much happen for them. But 18 points on 70% shooting, 4 for 7 from the three as a big, and with 3 assists and 2 blocks. Like, she just does so much for the Lynx, and the fact that they have her and Shepard is crazy. Shepard again, solid 11 points, 83% shooting. Can't ask for much more. And Fee again, solid, awesome performance. Williams in this game struggled, was 5 for 19, but ultimately it didn't matter because the Sparks kind of are looking like, as Kelsey Plum goes, so do they go. Kelsey Plum had a really tough shooting night, wasn't shooting well, and fouled out of this game. And Azure Stevens, Hamby, solid 20 points each, but it's not enough, especially with Rukia having kind of a slow start to her sophomore season, not really finding the success that she found last season. Lynx again, tough D, and Sparks needed another great one from Kelsey Plum to beat a team like the Lynx, and the Lynx win comfortably 89-75. And with that wraps up all our opening games. If you caught any of these games, if you saw any players that stood out that I missed, feel free to leave a comment down below. With that, make sure to check out my way too early tier list based on these early games in the next video, and I will catch you next episode. But before I go, remember, you're going to be amazing today because you are amazing.